Josh and Jay coming at you with the first ever funeral edition of the America is Blue podcast. We're both wearing black. We didn't plan that, but the season is done and dusted. I mean, this is where we are, man. This is the state of affairs. We got to take a look in the mirror and just realize that we have to dust ourselves off and get ready to compete next season. There is no silverware coming home this year, no trophies to add to the case. We did get our asses kicked 2-0. We put up a good fight in the first half, I think. But look, man, that's not for me to get into first. Let me give you the first word on what happened at the bridge on Wednesday.
All in all, I don't think it was that bad. When I saw the lineup, I was really, really concerned. I think I hit you up before the game. We were like, what the fuck is going on with this? And, we were definitely short on attacking players and guys who have some sort of potential to finish. But even if we threw those guys out there, nobody's been finishing. So, whatever. I thought the effort and the passion and the energy and the intensity that we expect from seeing Chelsea out on the pitch is what we saw. We were just outclassed because Real Madrid is a far better team who has far more continuity, a better manager, and pretty much everything on us. But the effort was there. We had chances. We had them falling to guys who are not known for finishing, i.e. your N'Golo Kantes, Marc Cucurellas, and my best friend Conor Gallagher. And I don't know why we would have expected them to be clinical, banging the ball into the back of the net when that's not what they are really competent in. But I think a lot of people are very upset about. Everybody's just upset about the state of affairs in general, us included. And I think that every time there's, no matter how negative the thing is, even if it's not that bad, there's a massive overreaction going on right now. And I think if we had played this Real Madrid team like this under any other circumstances, knowing that we're going up against a monster, people would still come away feeling, shitty that they lost, but okay with it because of the effort and because of the way that we played. But it's just the accumulation of punishment now is untenable. So anything that goes wrong, any little interaction with Todd Boehly, every little just becomes this hyperbolic mess. So I'm not there. And I was actually happy with the boys the other day, despite the fact that we lost 2-0. Because for the guys we put out there, I thought they did fairly well.
I mean, I can get behind everything you said there pretty much. Obviously, the result not being there, and we do have a habit of blowing things a little bit out of proportion, but it's no doubt an accumulation thing. It losing 4-0 on aggregate is not a good showing. It's just not up to standards. And, we're not scoring under any circumstance other than a completely lucky human random error that worked out in our favor. Otherwise, Brighton beat the brakes off of us. And we did put up a good fight in the first half, but we were just outclassed. And now we all know where we stand. We have to accept it and just move forward, man.
Yeah, let me ask you, do you feel a little relieved? I feel relieved. I don't know why. It's been such a bloodbath. I mean, just stay up, cobble together a couple of points from these last, whatever it is, 6 or 7 games. Make sure you just stay up, and then we can get excited again over the summer once we have a new manager, and hopefully that manager can just beat all of the Graham Potter out of our squad, and then we can just move forward. But I'm done. It's like you had a parent who was really sick for a really long time, like desperately ill, needing somebody in the house, can't clean their own ass, shit's just falling apart. And it's just tugging at your heartstrings. And then they finally kick it. And you're like, this is terrible. Like, oh my God, my parent is. But then at the end of the day, you're kind of like, I'm a little bit relieved here because, again, this has been a nightmare. My parent has been in all kinds of pain. And now everybody's in a better place. So that's the best analogy I can give to the state of this club.
Well, I mean, death is the only thing that can give, rebirth to life. And that's what we need more than anything. We need to kill this season so we can get on and be reborn next year. It's a really difficult set of circumstances. But nice little segue there, man. Let's just dive into the roster. This is going to have to be a massive overhaul this summer. And it's not like we haven't been adding pieces. So I just say, let's just go down the roster through everybody. Who are we keeping? Who are we getting to? We could be here all night. because it's a big roster right now. There's a lot of driftwood. We're gonna have to chop this down a little bit, and let's just start back to forwards. I mean, Kepa. What's the deal with Kepa Arrizabalaga? He's now playing in the Spanish national team, interestingly enough, a little bit, and he has obviously improved from the deathly performances early on in his career, and he's really shown himself to be an asset. Get into Kepa for me.
I don't love Kepa, but out of probably most of the guys on the squad, he's maybe been our best player this year over the course of the year. I think he certainly deserves another chance, certainly to stay with the team, assuming that he wants to stay. I don't think that doesn't mean that we don't come in and find a suitable backup or somebody who could potentially challenge him for that first spot. But
Yep.
I think he absolutely deserves a spot on the squad. What about you?
I mean, or at least the chance to compete. Everybody always criticized him for being 6'1" and being a little bit undersized, but he has bulked up and he's shown himself athletic and capable enough to man the net. I'm definitely not clamoring for him to stay, but I'm definitely not mad if he keeps the shirt. I really applaud his effort. Obviously, coming in with the label of the most expensive goalkeeper of all time was just not a fair circumstance for him to enter any situation, given his pedigree and what he was, doing at Bilbao. But let's go to his other teammate there behind the net too, Mendy, coming off a Champions League winning season two years ago. Bunch of injuries. He's not quite good with his feet. I think we got to get somebody who's better at football than him moving forward.
I agree, and I think he deserves a chance to be a first line keeper somewhere. It's just I don't think he's quite up to snuff to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish him well. That was an amazing run he was on to get us that trophy. But what a hell of a signing! Like nothing but good feelings about Mendy. We brought this guy in for pennies on the dollar, and he came in, took over the job, and had a tremendous season for us. But I just don't see the point in keeping him around.
No, for sure. And absolutely, I back all those sentiments. He was fantastic. Nobody has a negative word to say about him. I think he took us on a magical run. He played amazing in a lot of those games. Tons of big saves, kept us in a lot of matches. Obviously understood Thomas Tuchel's defensive tactics, and everybody was playing with a lot of cohesion. So hat tip to him. Really wish him well. In whatever league he can get a starting spot in, I back that 100%.
Yeah, and I guess moving on from this, we still have Gabriel Slonina on the roster. So I don't know if that maybe is the guy. I don't know where he is in his development, but maybe he's the guy who can come up and compete with Kepa for top spot. Young guy, inexperienced. I don't know if we want to turn the keys over, but that's a great guy to have in the stable to see where he goes.
No, well, either that. I was actually going to say if he can get a really good loan situation, I would not hate that either. U.S. development, either on the continent or in the Premier League, is not a bad place to be. But the thing about this, and it, young players, I think specifically goaltenders, it helps if they play early.
Yeah.
You want to get them in there. You don't want them just in training or only the occasional cup tie or something like that. You want to try to get him in a position to have consistent playing time, because Slonina's a big kid, and hey, Americans, we catch shit. He's good at it. So I think he could definitely be a really solid addition. Just whatever happens with him, I just want him to have the opportunity to play.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, man. You want to get into these defenders here?
Yeah, why not? Let's start off with Benoit Badiashile.
I mean, no brainer. The Redwood is fantastic. He's a beautiful specimen out there. Can't say enough superlatives about him. I think he's been a really awesome addition. It sucks he couldn't play in Champions League, but I really like the Frenchman a lot. He is absolutely the type of guy that we're looking for. Love him, want him.
Yeah, I think he started strong when he came over. Once he was not getting the playing time and we thrust him back in, he had a bad game, but I guess you can expect that if you're not getting regular minutes.
Sure.
We just signed the guy. We just brought him into the squad. He hasn't even shown us what he's got, so of course he has to stay.
Absolutely. And then, maybe an easy decision, maybe not. obviously getting a little long in the tooth, but still amazing. What do you want with Thiago Silva?
He's an interesting one. He's made some comments recently. He's been very critical about what's gone on with the club, rightly so. I don't disagree with anything that he says, and I'm not. At this point in time, there's not about like a cancer in the locker room. The locker room has metastasized. Like it's a disaster to begin with. I'm glad that he's stepping up and being vocal. If Thiago wants a spot, if he wants to come back and be a part of this club for another year, knowing that we're not going to get into Champions League, absolutely take him without a question.
100% agreed. He's a real leader, a real professional. Even if he doesn't play that much, his value in the dressing room is, way more than anything else. So I definitely agree with that. And what about our boy Trevor, our academy product, Mr. Chalobah?
He's useful because he can play a lot of positions, and he's very versatile on the back line. Despite that usefulness, he needs to play. He needs to play. It's great to have a utility guy for your back line that's sitting on the bench. We're talking about like a 23-year-old kid who's got a lot of talent, has showed up in a lot of games. I think he's a perfect loan candidate.
Agreed.
If you get him out and get him regular playing time, see if he's up to snuff to become a first-team player, who we're probably not going to discuss right now because he's not technically on the squad, is the return of Levi Colwill from Brighton, who's a stud center back. So that room is getting really crowded. I don't know where we're going to find minutes for Trevor, and I don't want to see him languishing on the bench.
No, 100% agreed. Because I don't want to sell him, and because he costs us nothing. You can't just throw away academy products like that, especially in our situation. It is great for the books because any sale goes 100% pure profit, but the fact of the matter is he is a youthful piece, and you never know what's going to happen down the road. You can always put little clauses in to recall him during the season or things of that nature. So that doesn't scare me off too much, but I agree. He can't stay in the squad right now. We got to get him a place to continue his development.
And if he does that, he's going to increase his market value. So if we do sell him, I think there's more money downstream. There's a bigger pot of gold at the end of the rainbow than it is to just cut ties with him now.
No, I'm totally with you. Well, the next two that I got on the list, we can just breeze past Chile. He just signed a new contract. We all know that Ben Chilwell is going to be with us. Reece James. I love when they try to insinuate these rumors. Of course, he's the best. He's the best in the world at his position. Every club wants him, but not everybody can have. No one can have him because he also just signed a monster contract earlier this year. The fee that he would command would be crazy.
Yeah, neither one of those guys are going anywhere. We can just move along. They have to be on the team.
Who do you got next?
Kalidou Koulibaly.
Me too.
Did you print your shit off of ESPN?
No.
Oh, I don't know why. These are all in the same order. Anyway. This is my first stumper. I don't know. We have Wesley Fofana. You could have Colwill coming back. If I can make this a contingency call, if Thiago Silva leaves us, then I would keep him.
Sure.
If Thiago Silva stays and you can get a reasonable fee for him, then I'd say you could probably afford to get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, whatever fee we're going to get back, it's not going to be anywhere near what we paid. But again, we're not going to have Europe, dude. Like the number of competitions is going to be way down next year. So the available pool of players has to be cut down that much more. I definitely agree with the contingency. If Thiago Silva's in the mix, there's no way he can stay. But if Thiago does not stay and moves on, I think it's definitely a move to keep.
Yep. Okay. Cesar Azpilicueta.
We love you, Dave. There's nothing but love, but there's just no room left. And the reason why we had to re-sign him was because obviously we had to re-sign him at the time. Everything was way too crazy. We didn't know what players we were going to be able to keep, what we were going to do with contracts. Guys weren't getting paid. It was it's been a hell of a year or 18 months, like that's for sure. But I just don't think that we have room in the dressing room for Dave anymore, and he can head off to green pastures. But let it be said, absolute club legend, one of the best to ever do it, won every single thing that you can win. And he's just a fantastic person and a fantastic teammate and a fantastic representative of the club.
Yeah, we're going to miss his leadership. I mean, that guy was just the standard as far as how to come to work, like lunch pail type guy, never supremely athletic, but the guy gave everything at all moments and was stellar. We're going to miss that guy in the locker room big time. I really hope he retires.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't want to see him go play for some shitbag club, and I don't think he's going to get near any club that's toward, like an upper class European outfit. So I don't want him coming to MLS or doing some other stupid shit. I guess maybe if he wants to go to the Middle East and get paid $1 gazillion, if that's an option, all right. But I don't want to see him just wither away on the vine elsewhere. He should go out on a shield in blue.
I mean, that would be ideal. I think you summed it up perfectly, man. Great hat tip to Dave.
Yep. Mark Cucurella.
Mark with whom
What
we're
the
stuck.
fuck do we do with that?
I think it's Mark with whom we're stuck. And it's not because I have a certain fondness for him. Obviously we paid a lot of money for this guy. And he is a Potter relic, I'll say, even though he's only in his first year with the club. He has been extremely frustrating. I haven't seen the type of performances that you would be accustomed to seeing, especially for a $65 million left back. But what the hell do I know, man?
Yeah, I think we're stuck with him because I don't think anybody else wants him. I don't think anybody would pay any reasonable fee for him. He's 24.
Seems older.
He does. It's the look. It's the weird. It's the hair. It's the face. It's everything about him. It's just not being slow, small, frail.
I think being Spanish makes you older too.
I think so too.
It's like baseball players in the Dominican.
Exactly.
If you're 17, you're 27.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
I mean, I guess he'll serve a purpose. Chilwell goes down a lot. Some of this is contingent upon who our manager is and what kind of system we're going to be running. If we're going to be running a back four, I mean, he's going to be riding the bench quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, dude, as a backup and maybe somebody to continue to develop behind Chilwell, get him some spot starts. But yeah, I think we're stuck with him.
Well, and a lot of that's going to depend on what formation we end up playing.
Yeah,
with whatever managers we're doing. I mean, that's let that not be lost on the whole situation that we're dealing with here. What's the system going to be like? And hopefully we're zeroing in on somebody with a plan and somebody who knows how to work with a lot of the pieces that we have, because we do have some fantastic pieces, but we do need to chop and add a little bit. But I'm assuming that you also have Wesley Fofana next on the list.
I believe he's our last defender on the list. Yeah. So yeah, that's a
no-brainer. No-brainer there. I like the French pairing. And isn't at the end of the day that kind of what you want? So if you say, hey, we've got a pair of French internationals, and if those are the two guys that then say, oh, we play for Chelsea during the week, and then on the weekends we play for France, and start together. The continuity will just build and build and build. That's the type of dream scenario I'd want. I want to get back to 4 in the back if we have a competent manager, and having that Wesley Fofana, Benoit Badiashile pairing, right footer, left footer. Mwah.
Yeah, he's got to say he's been. I mean, beside Thiago Silva, he's been our best defender this year as far as center backs is concerned. He's just the guy is class. He's still super young. Also, he's got plenty of room to grow. No brainer.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can keep him healthy. Yeah. Then look, dude, as we get into the midfield, we can obviously blast past the first two. Enzo, duh, and NG if we can, make sure that the ink gets dried. He's always going to be welcome for another year. I think NG still has 2 years of top football left. I think
if he does it, as long as he can stay healthy, if he can just keep his body fit, and keep his hamstrings attached, dude, he's been again, we've how many times have we said like we've seen this gulf in talent between one player or another, or when we go up against certain clubs. The second that guy got regular minutes back into the lineup, you could just see it's like, my God, what have we been missing? And how much did we take this guy for granted?
100%, dude.
Even when he may have been not overshadowed, but just complemented better with other quality players, where it didn't feel like he was just the only shining star. He's tremendous. So yeah, he definitely has to stay.
I mean, unbelievable. So now we're gonna run through this midfield, dude. This midfield, the names on this list right now. We are
This is where it gets fun.
This is the heart of the whole situation. Time to get down to the heart of the matter. So, Mateo Kovacic, explain me.
I say go. I say
Get him out of here.
if you can get something for him, and he's been really on and off this entire season. He's not young, right? When we look at somebody who could be the elder statesman, to be the leader of the team, I don't really see that from him. I don't really see him being the guy grabbing you by the scruff of the neck or rallying the guys. And if he was that, he completely failed at it this year. He's a very solid player. He's a little bit limited as far as what he brings to the midfield, given that, again, he's pretty good with the ball at his feet, but defensively there are some lapses. Unless he's hitting the occasional worldie, he leaves a lot to be desired when he's moving forward.
He's not finishing anything.
I think we can do without him. So if somebody wants to pick him up and pay a little bit of cash for him, I say thank you for your service.
Agreed. And the other part about Kova, which has been frustrating, we've said this for so long. Such a great dribbler. Got us out of trouble so many times, carrying the ball through the midfield, making people miss, getting people out onto the break, and helping us get out of some tricky situations. That has not been the case. His first touch has let him down numerous times. He has not had the same dribbling and carrying that we've typically seen from him, and he has been out of sorts. Still a world-class player, could still play for 99% of the teams in Europe, but I do agree. I think it's best for him and for everybody involved to find a fresh start, and I'm cool with leaving Kova out.
Yeah, and wherever he lands, I'm sure he will do well. I know he'll definitely do better than he did this year. It's not like this guy's just falling off a cliff. He'll be good again. It's just I feel like the relationship has staled.
Yeah, 100%, man, and a huge hat tip to him. Winner, absolute winner.
Yeah,
Croatian international, had a great international career. He speaks like 37 languages. I mean, the guy's incredible. So hat tip to him. Your boy, come on. Not your. Actually, you got two your boys.
My boy. All right, now our lists have deviated. Finally,
yeah.
I have your boy. I'm going there first. Christian Pulisic.
Oh, you got him as a midfielder? We're talking about him now?
Oh, they have him as outfielders. Okay, all right. Yeah, let's go off your list. You're going to lead this.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You said
you're right. No, because you're right. My list has outfield players. My list is stupid. I got it off of ESPN. I'm sure you got it off of far more reputable place.
Step up your game. Act like a professional.
I'm not.
The listeners here expect a lot more.
Okay, who do you have next?
Okay, your boy 1.0. Your boy 1.0. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the man with the name that sounds like he should be on like General Hospital or a daytime soap.
Gotta go, Rubes. See you, buddy. He can play for. Yeah, let's just cut ties, man. He's never going to develop into a superstar. He's a competent player. He can go play at a lower table team. I think he'll probably stay in the Prem because he's got the physicality and he does add some value there.
English,
but no thanks. We need to elevate our quality and not just keep on going back to a well. We know exactly what Ruben Loftus-Cheek is. He'll have an occasional decent game. So many bad games. I've had enough. So please sell him for what you can get for him. Recoup some of that cash. That's it.
No, 100%. Well, I mean, he's an academy product as well. So at least he really goes boom right towards the bottom line. How much can you squeeze out of that piece of fruit? I don't know how much marketability. He hasn't exactly elevated his status as we talked about, but he does have the English premium. So hopefully we can get, something back for this dude.
Yeah, like whoever's getting promoted, like that would be a great place for him to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Oh, agreed. Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get into your boy 2.0, I'll say then, because we're saving the most controversial member of the midfield for last. But your boy, Conor Gallagher, your boy 2.0. Your boy.
Resounding, get the fuck out of here.
Really?
resounding, just go. Please, the quicker the better. The quicker the better.
English premium goes right back into the books. Another academy boy. So that is cha-ching. And I agree. I do not enjoy Conor.
I've spoken enough about how much my displeasures with Conor Gallagher and his lack of refined skill. He's just the guy just fucking jumps and sprints and fucks everything up. He's always out of position. Fuck that guy. Goodbye.
All right. Dennis
very handsome.
Zakaria.
He's very handsome.
Very
He's good
handsome.
for marketing.
Dashing.
He's good for marketing.
Dashing.
Dashing.
Mr. Zakaria.
Gotta go. Go back to Juve. Thank you for the loan.
Yep, no problem. Take care. Braid your hair. Carney Chukwuemeka. Gotta keep him.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Worst case, you'll loan him for a year if you're not going to get him playing time. But that guy needs to be part of the future of the midfield. He's shown something. He's got a tremendous amount of talent. He's got to stay long term.
100% agree with all of those.
I will say loan. I'm going to definitively say loan. He needs minutes. Definitive loan. He needs the minutes, and I don't think he's going to get it. Loan him out. Let him get some burn. Bring him back home.
Don't hate that. Don't hate it at all.
Are you
all right? And last but not least,
wait, are you keeping him?
Oh, Carney, I want him. I want him in blue. I want him developing here. I want to. Okay. I want him to get a sniff of everything that's blue. I like keeping him under the dragon's wing. But if you want to send him abroad, I don't hate that strategy. But I got a little soft spot for Carney, and I think young talent like him, the more you keep him around the culture, I think he's the type of guy where you want to put him in the ground and let him grow his roots right at home. So that's just my thoughts on Carney, especially after bringing him in when he's young, give him the confidence you want. So look, dude, most controversial perhaps of the entire squad, certainly in the midfield. What are we doing with another Chelsea Academy product by the name of Mason Mount? What a footballing name.
If he will sign a somewhat reasonable contract, I keep him. It all depends on the dollars. So if he wants some stupid amount of money, if he wants like $250 a week or $300 a week or something silly, you just can't. There's no way to justify that, and you're going to fuck up the entire rest of your locker room by doing so. So if he wants to come back at something reasonable, I would say maybe 200. Less than Reece James money, because you're not as good as Reece James, but you're a meaningful, integral part of this club. I think that whatever butt hurtness that occurred over the season, I think that would fade with a new competent manager who's going to utilize him appropriately. I would keep Mason.
I mean, you said it perfectly, man. It's just the fact of the matter is this is an economics thing. It's 100% driven by dollars and cents and what makes sense for the value of the player. And of course, a player is always going to inherently think that their value is higher than what the club thinks that it is. That being said, it would break my heart, especially to see him go to a Liverpool or somewhere else. He's a Chelsea boy through and through, been a part of us winning a lot of great trophies, and he's had some wonderful performances. He's been player of the year. He's as blue as it gets. I really hope we can do everything to make sure that the finances make sense.
And listen, at his best, you're talking about a guy who's going to drop double-digit goals and double-digit assists and do a lot of intangible things that are very helpful to winning games. That's worth some pocket change. So as long as he's not going crazy with it, absolutely keep him on board. And hopefully the new manager will use him the way he's supposed to be used. Not as a winger, because that's not
100%, dude.
That's not what he does.
No. So, okay, dude. Let's take it from here. Alba, we know he's gone. We're just gonna get just that one off the top. We know he's out of here. because we got a lot to talk about here up top too, dude. And you already put it on me, so why don't you just ask again?
Joao. You want Joao?
You want to know about Joao? You want to know about Joao now?
Yeah.
Anyway, look, you you know the answer to this. Get him out of here, because it's all great little stuff for the skills video. It's him turning and then taking on one guy and making him miss, but they don't show the part where he loses it when he tries to make the third guy miss. It's so infuriating with him because it's all these little flashes and none of the end result, no end product, nothing to actually celebrate. I don't think that he's a bad player. I just don't want him in my club because I think he's too pretty for this league. He needs to go play in Italy where they don't touch you as much. He needs to go to a little bit of a slower paced environment where he can, dash by guys. He's not Premier League ready. I think whatever fee that Benfica would get, they'd be laughing us freaking off the planet. And I just don't think that he is worth 70, 80 million pounds. If they want to, lower that fee to 25 million, sure.
All right, so quick correction, it's Atletico Madrid via Benfica. But you're right. It does. I'm not as sour on him as you are because I do think that there's a really talented, high caliber player in there. I think he needs more support. I don't think he's not Eden Hazard who's going to one man show it and beat 4 or 5 guys and net it. Who is? There's like one. There's a handful of guys who can play like that. I would like to keep him.
That's a very hot commodity.
I would like to keep him, but this also it just comes back to the economics. We've already splashed out so much money. We're probably in some kind of trouble with financial fair play. There's no way I can see how this would work out given the money that we've splashed. And if you're gonna throw 100 million at something, I hope to God you're planning on allocating the vast majority of that to a legitimate striker. And if that means that we have to sacrifice Joao, knowing that we have reinforcements coming in Christopher Nkunku with everybody else that we currently maintain,
I can't wait to see him.
Then that's a sacrifice I'm absolutely willing to make. We can give him right back. He can get sold somewhere else. But if there is cash for him and it doesn't cost quite that much, then I would do it. Because I do think that he is superior to many other attacking threats in the Premier League. I think he's got a lot of potential.
I don't hate you, man. I don't hate you. I think
that's the first time we really disagreed on one. So that's good.
Yeah,
I'm tired of you and I sucking each other's beep
answers. So Mykhailo Mudryk, we already know that he's staying, but the memes going on about him are pretty brutal. But we obviously have to give this guy an opportunity to settle in and show his mettle. And I am excited. Obviously, we've seen the flashes. We've seen, what this guy is capable of doing. He's got pace for days. We got to give the kid a chance. No brainer.
And I like him a lot more than, if anybody's coming down on him, given the situation that he walked into, coming from where he came from, everybody needs to chill out on that. I think he's going to be a very good player.
He's going to be amazing. So how about this? How about your boy, Raheem Sterling?
I don't know what you can do. Is anybody going to buy him? If you can unload him for anything to recoup some of that fee, you do it. You do it.
English
Goodbye.
Premium.
I don't give a shit. Give him away to somebody. Give him away to anybody who will take him. And I'm sure some people will. Listen, the guy's 28 years old, plays for the England national team. Somebody can utilize him. It's just, I don't need to see any more of that weak-ass floppy arm shit all over the field. No constitution about that.
He's the wrong shade of blue.
No constitution. And how many times do I have to see him where he's like face down, ass up in the turf? How many times do I have to see that? I just no. I need somebody who just some toughness. He's just not that tough guy, and I don't think he has the skill set to really contribute. He needs to have a Man City around him. He needs people who are going to be creating all kinds of problems all over the wings and through the
Yeah.
center so that when balls come through, he's right there to just poach and finish. Because he doesn't come up with anything creative on his own whatsoever, nor is he doing anything to really play it forward to anybody else. You would think that a guy like that who's coming from the City system at least would have contributed more on the wing to be able to press toward the line, create some square balls, get some assists. Our top players have 2 assists this season. We have like 5, I don't know, 6 or 7 guys. The leading guys on our team have 2 assists.
That's amazing.
2.
What a sign of the times. And I mean, and think about it. Like I said, he's in the wrong shade of blue. And look at what Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus are doing at Arsenal. Those are 2 City boys that are I mean, doing okay, I guess. I mean, so it's not
system,
that. It's
same
just
system, same
I think
deal. Yep, City.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like
just
the little brother,
dude.
Yeah.
All right, it's nuts. And then you what about Mr. Armando Broja? Do you think he's a candidate for a loan, or do you think he's somebody that we're gonna really show the requisite belief in and keep him in the side as well?
I keep him. I saw a lot of good things from him before he got hurt, and he was just starting to pick up steam. I think you got to give him some time to make sure that he's healthy, which kind of buys you some time. There's no pressure to get him minutes, but I would love to see him stay with the club and continue to develop, because there you're talking about a big, fast, marauding presence who could be an impactful player a couple of years down the road. I wouldn't want to get rid of him.
Well, I mean, definitely not sell him. I think he's another guy that I'd like to see loaned, to be honest with you. Because he's an academy product as well, which is, we should be proud of this. It's unbelievable that these guys have come through the system and proved out to be, Premier League ready and worthy players. And he is that. He's every bit of that. But especially him coming off the injury, granted, you might not want him away from our physios, away from our programs and stuff like that. But I think depending on how healthy he is and where he's at, granted, whatever manager we're bringing in is going to have the final word and the say about where these guys are going to go directionally. But if he does stay, I won't be mad, but I would actually like to see him loaned.
My issue with that is, let's assume we bring in a top flight striker, whoever that may be. I never want to see Kai Havertz up top again. I want to see him. I know we're going to get to it. I never want to see him playing as a true striker ever again. I'll throw out another stat. There's one stat that we lead the Premier League in for individual players, and it's Kai Havertz offsides. There's one stat. I was looking around. One stat we lead the Premier League in.
Timo level?
For the year. For this season.
No, I got you.
So if we bring in another top flight striker, whoever that may be, we don't have any depth behind him. So that's why I would keep Broja in, because even if you do bring somebody in, God forbid they get hurt or they have some time off over the course of the season or they need a spell, I have enough confidence in Armando Broja to be able to come in and fill in that gap. And I don't want us to necessarily have to splash cash on 2 strikers when we already have some young guys who we need to develop. So I'd rather keep him around.
Fair enough. We know that Ziyech is out of here. We can both agree on that.
Yep. And nothing bad to say about the guy. I think he's a very talented player, and I hope he lands well.
Absolutely not. And then what about Mr. Fofana, the other Fofana?
That's loan. That's Loan City. He's 20 years old, man. He's never played in any sort of competitive league. That's the guy that I would rather send out to get some experience and see where his future takes him.
Don't hate it. I 100% agree with that. Noni Madueke?
Keep.
Of course.
Keep him. Absolutely. He's shown enough.
No brainer. So brings us to the other 2 guys up top. The last 2. And 2 of the most controversial, of course. I'll just go ahead and say it. Hooley's got to go. Everybody knows it. He's out the door too. And I just really hope that he lands in a great situation in a great league where he's going to get to continue to play in the Champions League and play regularly. That's all I want for him. I wish him all the success in the world, of course, as the American representative of all things offensive in Europe.
Absolutely. Same. And I hope we can get some money for him. I don't know. He's got to be worth what, 40?
Oh, I mean, he's
35, 40?
he's got market value. He's not a nothing player, and everybody also knows his marketability to whatever side who wants, wherever he goes. If they want additional American exposure, bring in Christian Pulisic. He's going to sell a lot of jerseys, and he's going to have a lot more eyeballs on the TV. I'll watch him wherever he goes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Last but not least, your boy, Kai Havertz.
I'm going to let you go first.
I will keep Kai, of course. We spent a lot of money on him. He's just one of those guys where it's just you feel I can't give up on him. I don't want to give up on him. He links up play. He's a bigger guy. He's just got to play the right position. He's not an out and out. Can we get him as a number 10? Can we put him a little bit deeper where he's allowed to link up play in different ways and just create space for other players? He's a guy who can put a pass through there, get a through ball going. If we can put him in the right position, absolutely keep him. If he's going to play as a striker, get him the hell out of here.
I like Kai Havertz, but he has to go. He's got to go. And number one, I mean, assuming you don't get, he's not a pennies on the dollar giveaway. Like, you need to be able to recoup a reasonable fee. Forgetting about what was outlaid, because that was outlaid under a different regime. That doesn't really count against our books right now. If you can get 50 plus, I do it in a second. And here's why. I like Kai Havertz. I think there is a skill set in there. I think he's a very dynamic and versatile player. No, not versatile. I take that. That's the reason why I don't want him. He's dynamic, and he can do a lot of things okay, and okay enough to be useful. The problem is that you become very system dependent with him, and he's not versatile. I don't think he can survive out on the wing in the Premier League. He definitely can't survive up top in the Premier League. So you're almost forced to play a 4-2-3-1. You're almost forced to. And you have to play him behind the striker, or you have to go into a formation where you're playing two strikers that are going to be offset. And I don't think he's good enough for our manager to have to cater the formation and the shape of the team for him.
He's not Messi or Ronaldo, that's for sure.
No, certainly not. And again, although I think he's a good player, we've seen too many ups and downs. We've seen too much inconsistency, and this is across multiple managers. I say he's got to go. I hope we can get 50 for him. I think we probably could get 50 for
him. We just went through the entire roster.
It did. It took us 43 minutes.
I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
and just the fact of having to go through the exercise of this, think about how bloated this roster is. It's just amazing that this is where we are. It's just a collection of misfits right now that used to be a team. It's a crazy situation to comprehend right now.
Well, you know what's crazy, man, is that it was only a handful of months ago that we were trying to do lineup predictions in our previews, and we were forced to get guys into this team because there was no one else there. There was no one else available. We were going down to the Lewis Halls and the Amari Hutchinsons, guys who were just not quite ready enough to be playing for Chelsea in the Premier League because there was no one there. And now, the conversation and the narrative has pivoted to what a bloated squad, so many players. And obviously we brought in a ton of bodies in January. And frankly, I think that almost all of those transactions are going to be significant contributions to the club. But then when people got healthy and came back, now the bloat occurred. And we just did not have the manager in place to be able to work that out. We just didn't. And everything that was bad got worse, and then what was worse festered, and here we are.
Here we are. And here we go. To all of you people out there, we appreciate the listens. We appreciate the follows and the likes on social media. Visit www.americaisblue.com for all of your America is Blue podcast consumption needs. We really appreciate everybody supporting us, and we'll be back after the match this weekend with a little bit of a report, hopefully with 3 points in hand, and maybe we'll bag a couple of goals. But until then, America is Blue, and we'll talk to you next time.